All right, so we're talking about hate today. Let me quote one of my heroes. He said that fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Yeah, I can't really say it like him. I can't really do that. But I don't want to correct one of my heroes here, but I believe that this necessarily isn't true. It kind of goes against some of the other things that the Jedi teach, which is self-control. And it's all about how you control yourself. It's okay to hate things, like Shayla talked about. It's okay to hate things, but it's how we hate, and it's how we control ourselves. Because I think self-control is the key. Hate isn't bad. It's a natural feeling that we have. And in fact, we actually can use our hate for positive change. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is using our hate to create positive change. If any of you guys are in sports, especially more aggressive sports, there's like a certain energy that comes from you when you have a chip on your shoulder, when you believe that other people don't believe that you can do what you want to do. And the hate, that hateful feeling of the wanting to prove people wrong, drives you to compete. And so it actually can lead to something good. Hate isn't bad. It's what you do with your hate that matters. Of course, using it to physically harm others, unless it's like in a sport, is bad. Using it to gather people to your cause is good. Maybe writing an awesome song when you're really mad is good. Maybe it'll motivate you to beat somebody, to be more competitive. So hate can be good. But I think hate comes in multiple forms. So we're going to talk about just 3 basic forms today and talk about how hate can be used for positive change. And here are the things that we need to watch out for. Number 1, I think the big one is pride. Pride. This is something that we should hate. Pride is our downfall. It's so easy to have and it's easy to have, but it's hard to get rid of. We have it from youth, right? We get puffed up in the chest. And I think it manifests itself in 2 ways as we get older. One of them is arrogance. You've probably known some arrogant people. It's okay to hate that arrogance. We should hate it when people think they're better than others, or that their way is always the best, or that they have all the answers. You should hate it when people do that. Now, I'm not saying hate the person. I'm saying hate what they're doing. But I'll let you in on a secret when it comes to those who are arrogant, those who think that they know it all, is that I'm an adult. I've been an adult for 12 years. It's been pretty good so far. Been an adult. All of us feel like we have to prove ourselves, that we have to prove that we know what's going on, that we have all the answers, and the truth is we don't. There's plenty of times during the week where I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it anyway. That's actually adulthood. Like when you go to college, a lot of it is pretending like you know what the teacher is talking about and eventually hoping that, hey, you're going to understand it eventually. But admitting that helps you learn. When you're arrogant, that's a problem. Vanity is another way that I think pride manifests itself, especially early on in junior high and high school. You should hate it when people are obsessed with themselves. And it seems stupid to say that out loud, to be obsessed with yourself. But you probably know so many people who are. People who care more about how they look in the mirror rather than another person. So vanity is a problem. So pride is our enemy, and we should hate pride. And we should do our best to rid people of pride. Another thing that we should hate is the loss of innocence. The loss of innocence. So basically, I tried to boil this down to, when people don't treat human life with respect or with value. And so it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. Here's one, pretty obvious one, is murder. Murder. You should hate it when innocent lives are lost. But murder is probably the most obvious one. Yet, guys, we live in a country where everybody is like, there's a murder I meant to write down the statistic, but I believe it's every 7 seconds. There's a murder in our country. And it seems like the most obvious thing for us to avoid, yet it's what happens the most. You should hate it when innocent lives are taken. It's okay to be mad at what happened in Florida last week. It probably makes you think of a lot of questions. Why would somebody do this? How could a person be able to do this? And unfortunately, a cycle of hate kind of flows from this model, the deeper issue is the person's heart. Like, you have to try to think about why this person did this thing instead of just trying to react to it and react to the reactions of the reactions, because that just creates a cycle of hate and nothing gets done. We blame others first, and that is bad. So the loss of innocence can also come in this really intense way: rape. You should hate it when someone's sexuality is abused, when something is taken from somebody that they did not want to give. And the same goes for prostitution. You should hate it when people are forced to exploit their bodies. I mean, no girl, when she's like 6 years old, wants to become a prostitute when she grows up, right? Like, no girl has that dream. Yet things happen to people throughout their lives to put them in a position where maybe they're forced into it, or they feel like they don't value themselves enough that they think it's the only option. Like, we should hate it when lives are destroyed this way. Another one that you might not think exists today is slavery. You should hate it when others abuse the lives of others for personal gain. And actually, slavery in its purest form is still being done in our world today. In 167 countries around the world, there are estimated of 45.8 million slaves right now. Just because it's not in our country doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We should hate that. So you can see through all of us that hate can create moral awareness. If we're not reacting to this in some kind of loud way, then nobody is going to do anything. So it's okay to get riled up. It's okay to hate this, and it's okay to yell about it. You know, there are issues of gun control, abortion, euthanasia, capital punishment, and so on, so on. It's the abuse of the loss of the innocence of life. So passion should drive what we believe, because sometimes hate is the best emotion to show people that we won't stand for it anymore. Last one we're going to talk about is harmful words, and this is probably more of a common one that you encounter on a daily basis. Our words have so much power. They can change lives for good, or they can change lives for bad, just based off of what you say. Like, think about that. Your words have so much power. It could totally change a person's mood just like that. One way that it manifests itself is lies. You guys probably know pathological liars, people who think that they can get away with making up truth. You should hate it when people don't respect the truth. You should love the truth so much that when people take it and twist it, that should make you angry. That should make you filled up with hate. You know, you've probably lost some friends over the fact that they lied to you or that you lied to them. Truth hiding is a tactic that a lot of people have. And unfortunately, it's one that our government has as well. Here's a graph. You might not be able to, the graph's over here. The graph, you might not be able to see it as much. But here is 1958. 1958, there was about a 73% approval rating of the government. People said, yeah, I trust my government. 73%. That's almost unfathomable to our brains. But it's through certain things that happened with the government, Vietnam War, the Nixon administration, that a bunch of stuff happened. Hey, it went up a little bit, and then here's where we are today. We're below 20%. Lies are almost the currency of politicians and government officials. These words are harming our country. You guys think that our country is heading in a good direction? I don't think anybody would say that. Gossip. Gossip is another one. That's something that probably hits a little bit more personal to you. You know, we like to make this cute idea of what gossip is. It's just like the telephone game, like da-da-da, and you're like talking to somebody's ear, and then when it gets to the last person, there's always purple monkey dishwasher in there somewhere. It always gets messed up. And we're like, oh yeah, it's gossip, it's just cute. No, gossip is hurtful, it's harmful. You should hate it when people aren't honest with you to your face. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and that's one of the things that I personally hate the most. People who don't have the courage or the courtesy to come to tell me to my face what they think don't deserve any of my time. And I'm not going to give those people my time. And you shouldn't give them your time either. This destroys groups. This destroys emotions, relationships, organizations. Gossip is the source of so much destruction. And we can't just think of it as a cute little game that we play, because it's more harmful than you think. So through all of this, I want you guys to self-reflect. I want you guys to think for a moment. It's easy for us to look at all these things that we hate and be like, yeah, I hate those things. But it's harder to actually point the finger back at ourselves and ask if we are guilty of any of these things. How much time today did you spend in front of a mirror? Have you been stubborn for no reason today? Have you acted in a way that didn't value another person's life today, or their heritage, or their opinions? Have you harmed someone with words today? It's after lunchtime. Odds are you probably have, or somebody has to you. Hate is alive and well in this room and outside these walls where people are eating their lunch. There's probably some hate language being spewed right now. So I'm going to say something right now that might shock you. It's okay to hate these things about yourself. It's okay to hate these things about yourself. Now, you're not hating yourself. You're hating these things. And these things shouldn't define you. We all mess up, but we don't have to keep doing them over and over and over again. There is no excuse. There's hope in life transformation. As you're a junior hire, hopefully you change by the time that you're a senior. But life transformation doesn't happen until you hate your pride, until you hate your immoral acts, your wrongdoings. If you're not aggressive with yourself, how are you going to be aggressive with others? You will find forgiveness from others by being honest. There's a newness of life that you have by being honest about your faults and by helping others with theirs. So we have to hold on to the truth. We have to forsake the evil in our lives that inspires so much hatred. So I encourage you to search for that truth and hold on to it with passion. Peace out.